everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Bonnie and this is Happy Space Creates. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Frankie Wrap Skirt by Made Label Patterns. I actually got recommended this pattern from you guys at home, so thank you so much for recommending that to me. I actually recently made this skirt up for a little staycation holiday that I had, so I will insert some videos throughout this video, so do look out for those. So the pattern is a PDF pattern and you can download it from the website down below here. You do have to have a printer at home or you can send it off to your local printers to get it done there. When you do print off the paper pattern, the fantastic thing is that it actually comes with this sheet here and it has the name of each pattern piece that you have. Now as you can see, I've got some scribbles all over mine and I actually ticked off the pieces as I went along. Now if you wanted to, you could cut these labels out and actually pin them to your pattern pieces to stop you getting confused at a later date. The one thing that's really interesting about the Frankie Wrap Skirt pattern is that rather than cutting it on a two layer of fabric, usually you cut patterns on the fold. Now this pattern you actually cut on a single piece of fabric, so it does take a little bit longer to cut out and you do have to mirror your pieces. So mirroring your pieces means that you cut out one and then you flip the pattern over and cut out another. So that's just to make sure that it goes together well, but the video does explain this quite well, and do just take your time cutting it out. You do need quite a lot of fabric for this. I actually bought 3 meters of a lovely leopard print fabric from Minerva, and I actually didn't use all 3 meters, but it is quite hard to tell how much you have used because you are cutting it on a single piece. You are sort of left with like random pieces left. So there is a little bit of wastage with this pattern, which is a little bit disappointing because I like to make use of my leftover fabrics by making like cami tops and things like that. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to get anything else out of that fabric, which is such a shame because it's really beautiful. So yes, the cutting out process is a little bit confusing, but once again, just take your time with it and take it slow and you'll get there. So the Frankie Wrap Skirt comes in sizes 4 to 16. Now these are Australian sizes. I will put the sizing chart here for you so that you can see. I actually cut out a size 8. I'm usually a size 10 in ready to wear clothes, so when I'm usually making sewing garments, I tend to cut out a size 12. So this was a couple of sizes smaller than what I'm used to, but it is the perfect fit. The only measurement that you actually need to take is your waist measurement, so go with your natural waist measurement. And that's really the only bit that it needs to fit in because it's quite a flowy, loose skirt. To be honest, by going that size smaller, I took out quite a lot of volume from the ruffles, which I think for my body shape really suited me because I'm wider on my bottom half. So I sized down for this pattern and I think it worked out perfectly. The waist ties are super, super long and I do recommend that you cut these out first because you run the risk of running out of fabric if you do save them till last. You don't actually get a pattern piece for the waist ties, you do just have to cut out a strip yourself. So the techniques used in this sewing is slightly more advanced than usual. They do describe the pattern as a beginner pattern, but if you're not comfortable with things like French seams, it can seem a little bit overwhelming. You don't have to use French seams in my personal opinion. They do explain on the video why they do use these techniques and I do agree. They basically explain that by using French seams it leads to a stronger garment that you're going to be able to wear longer and last you longer in the future, so it does make it more sustainable. I did do French seams in this pattern. I did get confused a few times and sew the French seams on the outside, but I feel like as sewists everyone can relate to doing that a few times. I would describe this pattern as an intermediate pattern purely because of those techniques. As I said, it has French seams and also the waistband technique that it explains in the video can look quite complicated. To be honest, I didn't follow the techniques for the waistband. I just did a regular waistband with a buttonhole on the end, which I think is much more practical. There is miles and miles of ruffles on this skirt and it is lots of hemming involved. So it does take a lot of patience. So take your time. If you do have a rolled hem foot, it is very handy to have. I actually don't have one of these, so how I did it was I used plenty of steam and a narrow hem. So I just rolled the hem over and used lots of steam to help shrink that curve down, and then just take it to your sewing machine and take things nice and slowly, and you will get there in the end. Overall, I think this is a really fantastic pattern, and again, like I said, it's great that it is free. The one thing that I will say that I did struggle with was I really had a hard time attaching the ruffle to the actual skirt. The pattern didn't come with any notches on the paper pattern, which I found really unusual because they are such a commonly used pattern technique. So to not have any notches to match was really confusing. So I just gathered the ruffle slightly to help shrink it down and match it into that skirt, but it did take me a really long time. And because you're working with just one piece of skirt by that time, there's a lot of ruffle to match. So I did find that quite frustrating, and it took me a really long time to do, but I got there in the end. But in the future, I think I'm going to make my own notches on the pattern, just so I have a future reference of how to attach it. There is no fastenings in this pattern, which I think is great, and that's what makes it so beginner friendly. Like I said, if you don't want to do more of those advanced techniques like the French seams, just scale everything back and you can whip one of these up in a weekend. There's no zips involved and no buttons. The way that you fasten it is just through a long tie waistband at the front. I just used a buttonhole to help pass the straps through one another, and that makes it nice and secure. If you don't know how to do a buttonhole, there are plenty of videos online. My machine does have a one-step buttonhole, so that does make things really super easy. So overall, I think the Frankie Wrap Skirt is a brilliant pattern. It is so chic and sophisticated, it's very feminine. I felt a little bit like a flamenco dancer in it, so it was a great summer make. I'm also going to be making this again at Christmas time. I think it would look lovely in a beautiful bottle green silk colour. I would love to wear it to a Christmas party. So I will be making that again, so do stay tuned on my Instagram to see how that one goes. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you can find me down here at this Instagram handle below. So that's about it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this pattern review. Let me know how you get on at making your very own Frankie Wrap Skirt. If you have liked this video, do give it a little subscribe and a click like down below as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to see you really soon. Bye!